Our next topic is topic is the carbon cycle. The carbon which occurs in organic compounds is included in both abiotic and biotic part of the ecosystem. Carbon is a building block of both plant and animal tissues. In the atmosphere, carbon occurs as carbon dioxide, which is CO2, and in the presence of sunlight, plants take up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through their leaves. The plants combine carbon dioxide with water, which is absorbed by their roots from the soil. In the presence of in the presence of sunlight, they are able to form carbohydrates that contains carbon. This process is known as photosynthesis. Plants use this complex mechanism for their growth and development. In this process, plants release oxygen into the atmosphere on which animal depends for their respiration. Plants therefore help in regulating and monitoring the percentage of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. All mankind depend on the oxygen generated through this cycle. It also keeps the CO2 at acceptable levels. Herbivorous animals feed on plant materials which in use which is used by them for energy and for their growth. Both plants and animals release carbon dioxide during respiration. They also return fixed carbon to the soil in the waste they excrete. When plants and animals die, they return their carbon to the soil. This process completes the carbon cycle. The next is the nitrogen cycle. So, where the carnivorous animals feed on herbivorous animals that live on plants, when animal defecate, this waste material is broken down by worms and insects, mostly beetles and ants. Just a minute. These small soil animals break the waste material into smaller bits on which microscopic bacteria and fungi can act. This material is thus broken down further into nutrients that plant can absorb and use for their growth. Thus, nutrients are recycled back from animals to plants. Similarly, the bodies of dead animals are also broken down into nutrients that are used by plants for their growth, and thus the nitrogen cycle on which life depends is completed. Nitrogen fixing bacteria and fungi in the soil gives this important element to plants, which absorb it as nitrates. The nitrates are a part of the plant's metabolism. which helps in forming new plant protein, and this is used by animals that feed on the plant. The nitrogen is transferred to carnivorous animal when they feed on the herbivores. Thus, our own lives are closely interlinked to soil, animals, fungi, and even bacteria in the soil. When we think of food web, we usually think of a large mammals and other large forms of life. But we do need to understand that it is the unseen small animals, plants, and microscopic forms of the life that are great values for functioning of ecosystem. The next is the energy cycle. So the energy cycle is based on the flow of energy through the ecosystem. Energy from sunlight is converted by plants themselves into growing new plant material, which includes leaves, flowers, fruits, branches, trunks, and roots of plants. Since plants can grow by converting the sun's energy directly into their tissues, they are known as producers in the ecosystem. The plants are used by herbivore animals as food, which gives them energy. A large part of energy is used up for day-to-day function of these animals, such as breathing, digesting food, supporting growth of tissues, maintaining blood flow, and body temperature. Energy is also used for activities such as looking for food, finding shelter, breeding, and bringing up their young ones. The carnivore, in turn, depend on herbivore animals on which they feed. Thus, the different plant and animal species are linked to one another through a food chain. Each food chain has three or four links. However, as each plant or animal can be linked to several other plant or animal through many different linkage. These interlinked chains these interlinked chains can be depicted as a complex food web. This is thus called web of life that shows that there are thousands of interrelationships in nature. The energy in the ecosystem can be depicted in form of a food pyramid or energy pyramid. The food pyramid has a large base of plants called producers. The pyramid has a narrow middle section that depicts the number of biomass of herbivore animals, which are called first order consumers. The apex depicts the small biomass of carnivore animals, which are called second order consumers. Man is one of the animals at the apex of the pyramid. Thus, to support mankind, there must be a large base of herbivore animal and an even greater quantity of plant material. When plants and animals die, this material is returned to the soil after being broken down into simpler substance by decomposers such as insect, worms, bacteria and fungi so that plant can absorb the nutrients through their roots. Animal excrete waste products after digesting food, which goes back to the soil. This links the energy cycle to the nitrogen cycle. Then, ecological suggestions. Let's start with the food chain, food web, and ecological pyramid. So, the transfer of energy from the source in the plants through a series of organisms by eating and being eaten constitute food chain. At each transfer, a large proportion of energy is lost in the form of heat. These food chains are not isolated sequences but are interconnected with each other. And this interlocking pattern is known as food web. We have studied that earlier also. So, with each step of food web, there is a tropic level. Hence, green plant occupy the first level, the herbivore the second level, and the carnivore is the third level, and the secondary carnivores are at the fourth level. So these tropic levels together form a ecological pyramid. The most obvious aspect of nature is that energy must pass from one living organism to another. When herbivorous animals feed on plants' energy, it is transferred from plants to animals. In an ecosystem, some animals of the animals feed on living organisms, while some feed on dead organic matter. So the latter from the detritus food chain. At each linkage in the chain, a major part of energy from the food is lost for daily activities. Each chain usually has only 4 to 5 such links. However, a single species may be linked to a large number of species. Just wait for a minute. So these were about the food chain which we have studied. Then what is the food web? In the ecosystem, there are a very large number of interlinked chains. This form a food web. And if the linkage in the chain that makes up the web of the life are disrupted due to human activities that lead to the loss or extinction of the species, the web breaks down. Then, what is the ecological pyramid? So, in an ecosystem, when green plants, which are the producers, utilize energy directly from the sunlight and convert it into the matter, a large number of these organisms form the most basic or the first tropic level of the food pyramid. The herbivore animals that eat plants are at second tropic level and are called primary consumers. The predators that feed on the worm, um, the predators that feed on them form the third tropic level and are known as secondary consumers. Only few animals from the third tropic level consisting of carnivore at the apex of the food pyramid. This is how energy is used by living creatures and flows through the ecosystem from its base to the apex. Much of the energy is used up in the activities of each living organism. So basically, we have to understand four basic issues which we have is what is the nature of the ecosystem, what is its structure and how does it functions. Second is who uses the ecosystem and for what purpose. The third is how we degrade the ecosystem or how these ecosystems are degraded when sorry and how we can protect them in the long term plus how they can be conserved. So there are some direct values, and these are the resources that people depend upon directly and are easily to quantify in economic terms. First is consumptive use value, which is non-market value of fruit, fodder, firewood, etc., that are used by people who collect them from their surrounds. Second is productive use value, in which commercial values of timber, fish, medicinal plants, etc., that people collect for sale. The indirect values are the indirect values are used and these do sorry are used and these do not have an easy ways to quantify them in terms of clearly definable price. The first is non-consumptive use value, which is scientific research, bird watching, ecotourism, etc. The second is option value, which is maintaining options for the future so that by preserving them, one could reap economic benefits in the future. And the third is existence value, ethnical and emotional aspects of existence of wildlife and nature. So that's it for today, guys. And in the next class, we'll start with forest ecosystem. Thank you.